Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you, as always, for taking the time to check out today's live stream. So, of course, before we get started, I do want to mention my website, which is bponlinefitness.com. I will have the address to that website at the end of this live stream for you to check out. But again, guys, I always keep that website updated. And if you have any questions about anything I have to offer as it relates to online coaching, or anything related to the content that I share, such as the information on my blog, information related to what I share in these live streams, feel free to reach out. But with all that being said, guys, thank you once again for taking the time today. So, what we're going to talk about today is about superfoods. So, this is a topic I've not really touched on, and I'm looking forward to going over this specific topic because I feel like it'll be very beneficial for no matter what your particular goal is. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And there's going to be a wide range of different points that I'm going to go over as it relates to this particular topic. So there are different points I'm going to go over. So some of the topics that we're going to sort of touch on today include what makes a superfood super, some top superfoods for boosting immunity, superfoods for energy and stamina, brain boosting superfoods, and superfoods for weight management. So that's all of what we're going to be discussing today. And again, guys, I think you'll find this very helpful and beneficial. And I think that it'll give you some insight on some changes that you could make to your diet. So definitely keep some of these points in mind that we're going to talk about today. So, what makes a superfood super? So, basically, there's different characteristics that sort of make up these types of foods. The first point here is that there is a high nutritional density. Superfoods pack a lot of essential nutrients in a small serving size. So, keep that in mind. They're rich in antioxidants. They combat free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and supporting long-term health. They have health boosting properties, help for improvement of immunity, enhancing energy, and lowering the risk of chronic diseases. They are natural and whole foods. That's one thing that is very common with a lot of these foods is that they're any kind of food that you can get naturally, anything that's a whole food is going to be extremely beneficial. And of course, it's likely going to be labeled as a superfood. So, superfoods are unprocessed or minimally processed, ensuring maximum retention of nutrients. So, keep that in mind. You want something that's, as, the not necessarily the bare minimum, but the completely, unprocessed type of food out there, and that's where you're going to get, the most out of the particular foods here. So I've got some examples here of different superfoods: berries, blueberries, or acai. This is high in antioxidants and vitamins. Leafy greens, kale, spinach, rich in vitamins K, A, and C. Seeds such as chia or flaxseed are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and fiber. Fatty fish such as salmon or mackerel, excellent source for protein and omega-3s. Spices like turmeric and ginger are anti-inflammatory and help to support digestion. You've likely seen a few of these before, but definitely keep these in mind. There are other foods that I'm going to touch on, but this just gives you an overall sort of example of what these foods are. And again, the one thing that's in common with these foods is that they are as minimally processed as possible. So that's how you're going to get the most out of these particular type of foods. So superfoods for boosting immunity. So there's different types. Again, the examples I just mentioned aren't the only ones. There are a ton of different types depending on, what you're wanting to help, sort of boost. Fruits. You've likely heard of fruits, excuse me, because it's rich in vitamin C to boost white blood cell production. So this is oranges, lemons, grapefruits. Anything with vitamin C is going to be, of course, beneficial for immunity. Garlic contains alicillin and it enhances immune response known for its antibacterial and antiviral properties. Ginger, anti-inflammatory properties help fight infections, aids in reducing oxidative stress. Spinach, once again, is high in vitamin C, antioxidants, and beta carotene. It supports the immune system and overall health. So there's a mix here. You're seeing some fruits, uh, garlic here, which would be considered kind of in the range of a vegetable. You've got a spice, and then spinach would be a vegetable as well. So you're starting to notice a trend here where it's usually either a spice or a specific type of fruit or even a vegetable. So it's very simple to sort of understand how we can identify exactly what superfoods are. So, superfoods for energy and stamina. Bananas is a quick source of natural sugars and potassium, boosts energy, and prevents muscle cramps. Sweet potatoes, one of my favorite types of carbs. And I'm talking about just plain, sweet potatoes. We're talking about the basics, like nothing added to it. Um, for me, I'm fine. Like I can go without anything extra on a sweet potato, depending on what it is. If it's like a really homegrown natural sweet potato, I can just eat it by itself. If you pick up sweet potatoes like at, like a farmer's market or something to that effect, you're going to get sweet potatoes that taste like they taste sweet, and it's not like you're getting something like from say like a supermarket or whatever. So I could eat those without even having any kind of, everybody's like, especially here because I live in the South, like brown sugar and butter. That's not a thing with me anymore. It used to be, but I could eat sweet potatoes without any of that. So it's one of my favorite complex carbs, definitely. So sweet potatoes alone is a complex carb for sustained energy, and it's rich in vitamin A and potassium. Quinoa, it's high in protein and complex carbs, providing long-lasting energy, rich in magnesium for muscle function. Nuts and seeds, so healthy fats, proteins, and fiber. Examples: almonds, chia seeds, and walnuts support steady energy release. This is something that I go to when it comes to snacks. Usually, if I'm wanting to, if I get hungry at a certain point during the day or, you know, and I want to stay within sort of my diet, usually anything that's like kind of like trail mix or, anything that's like almonds or walnuts, that's really what I use for like snacks. I think that's a great option for snacks anytime. Like for example, and I know this is somewhat outside of when we're talking about superfoods and unprocessed foods, but it still is considered a healthy snack in like Greek yogurt. If I want something that's like sweet, that's a really good option for still getting the nutrients you need. But that's the best thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these foods, especially like when we're talking about bananas, oranges, they can be really good snacks, and that's what I'm trying to highlight there. But anything like almonds or walnuts, that's usually what I eat as a snack. I try to avoid anything related to like potato chips. Like I can't tell you the last time I've ate potato chips. I've completely kind of cut them out of my diet. And I'm not saying that you have to do that. But I try to get the cleanest side as much as possible because that's my goal. My goal is to really hone in my nutrition, so that was the main focus for me. And so there's certain specific types of food I try to cut out of my diet. um, and it's okay, like keep in mind that you don't have to have everything to a T to get all the nutrients you need. It's okay to sort of go off, you know, and go off the wagon here and there. It's just really important that you don't stay off. You really need to focus on getting back into a good rhythm and a routine, and consistently eating healthy is the main focus. But there's many things that you can do to, stay full as well as getting good snacks in your diet without having to, grab something that's unhealthy. There's a lot of different alternatives out there, and that's what I wanted to really mention talking about this particular topic. Because you can use a lot of these foods for snacks. A lot of them, of course, can be used for meals, like you're talking about quinoa, of course, salmon, really good meals, like really healthy and good meals. So, some brain boosting superfoods. Going back to blueberries, it's rich in antioxidants that improve memory and cognitive function. Fatty fish, high in omega-3 fatty acids, essential for brain health and memory. Again, fatty fish is, we're talking about salmon and things of that nature. Any kind of fish like that is going to be beneficial. Um, the next point here is dark chocolate. It contains flavonoids and caffeine to boost mood, focus, and cognitive function. Again, nuts and seeds that are rich in healthy fats, omega-3s to enhance brain plasticity. Avocados, this is one of my favorite healthy fats. It supports brain circulation and cognitive function. Um, Avocado can be a good snack too. I could consider that as a good snack to include. Of course, you could use it in a meal, but that would be one of my favorite, sort of healthy fats to include in my diet because I do like avocados. Again, almonds, walnuts, stuff like that, bananas are some of my favorite ones. So, superfoods for weight management. So, again, we're talking about leafy greens. So, it's low in calories and high in fiber, helping to keep you full and support digestion. Now, I just mentioned Greek yogurt, and normally I wouldn't really classify it as a superfood, but it does have a lot of good nutrients and it's very beneficial as a really good snack. If you're wanting something sweet, that's something that I usually go to. Because like I mentioned, my diet is it's, I have it in a strict, like, I mean, you don't have to be strict with your diet, but the way that I do my diet is I'm really try to cut out anything that's, processed. That's kind of what I try to do as much as possible. Um, and so Greek yogurt isn't in itself processed in a way, but it does have a lot of great nutrients in it. So it's packed with protein to boost metabolism and control hunger. It's a great way to really increase your protein intake. It's one of the snacks I go to. If I want something sweet, that's usually what I go to. And again, it's going to raise your protein intake if, you may be low in protein intake for that particular day. Chia seeds, high in fiber and omega-3s, which help regulate blood sugar and support fat loss. Green tea is actually something I like as well. I don't drink it often, but I do like green tea. So it contains catechins that boost metabolism and fat burning. So these are some other great options. And, leafy greens, like we're talking about spinach and lettuce and things of that nature, it's going to be really great options. One thing I do want to mention is when it comes to lettuce, is that it's best to have anything that's not iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce really doesn't have a lot of nutritional value. And I don't know if a lot of people are very aware of that. If you go to the store, you're likely going to see iceberg lettuce. It's usually one of the cheaper types of lettuce out there, but it generally is just water. It doesn't really have much of a nutritional value at all. So I'd focus on just like a normal head of lettuce. That's going to be your best option. Don't just get iceberg lettuce. Just sort of keep that in mind that that's usually not the best option. Again, it doesn't really have nutritional value. Um, so when it comes to leafy greens, spinach is really your best option. But if you have, a good head of lettuce, that's a great option. So some superfoods for skin health. Tomatoes, a great source of lycopene, which protects against sun damage and promotes smoother skin. Green tea, once again, loaded with catechins, which improve skin elasticity and reduce redness and irritation. Dark chocolate, flavonoids in dark chocolate improve blood flow to the skin and protect against UV damage. So some of these you're going to see sort of repeats. So each specific superfood kind of has a specific thing that it really you get the benefits from. You're going to see a lot that have a lot of, the same benefits. You're going to see some that may not have as much benefits. There's specific, each sort of superfood has its own specific thing. So if there's one that you're looking for, like if you're focusing on immunity, choose those types of foods. If you're focusing on, like skin health, these would be great options. It's all dependent on what you want to consume. These are just some foods to consider that can be very beneficial in your diet. Even if we're not talking about superfoods, that doesn't mean like foods that are not labeled as superfoods per se doesn't mean they're not healthy. They just don't have as many benefits as these types of foods. So, for example, something that I really like outside of superfoods is brown rice. And brown rice is still a really great and healthy option, but a lot of times it can be processed. And so the main thing with these types of foods is that they're really minimally processed. However, that does not mean that anything that's not labeled quote unquote as a superfood is not unhealthy, basically. So, how to incorporate superfoods in your diet? So, there's many different ways you can do this, and I sort of touched on adding them as snacks. You can add to breakfast chia seeds, berries, or oats in a smoothie, yogurt, or oatmeal. Snacks will be a great way to replace chips. So that's how I replace my snacks is by using nuts. Anything of that sort is going to help. Seeds or dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a great option. Um, of course, I wouldn't consume as much when it comes to dark chocolate, but it is still a healthy option. Include salads in your diet while adding foods like avocado, quinoa, sunflower seeds, anything of that sort is going to be a great option. And some of your meals, you could incorporate lentils, fatty fish, or sweet potatoes. And lentils are basically like beans. So keep that in mind. It's an example of a really great meal. Like I mentioned, sweet potatoes are a really great option. Um, Again, fish like salmon, that would be a really great option. You can have a lot of these foods, you can have them as meals, you can have them as snacks. There's so many different options, or like toppings. I mean, there's so many different options that you can do with a lot of these specific foods. So keep that in mind. Alrighty, guys. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. I know this one didn't seem as long as some of the other ones, but I did want to touch on just a few different, key points when it comes to superfoods to give you something that's really simple, that you can sort of understand. And that, again, a lot of what I do with these live streams, and I want to make them easily digestible and not extremely wordy to where you don't understand, a lot of the topics that I'm talking about. Um, of course, nutrition, a lot of times it can be straightforward. However, sometimes you get into various different topics when it comes to nutrition, it gets kind of confusing. The same can be said for like your workouts, like when we're talking about various training modalities and talking about, drop sets, supersets, and all these different things. There's different stuff that can kind of get very confusing. So again, with these, I try to condense these topics and make them easily digestible to where, okay, this is something that I can take with me. This is something that I can use today, and really implement it. And that's what I try to focus on. I know there may have been some topics in the past that may not have been clear. Um, so if there's any live stream that you've watched from me or that you've, watched on my YouTube channel and you've been unsure of anything, feel free to let me know. Anything in this one as well, feel free to let me know if you have any questions. But I felt like this was a really interesting topic, and it's something that I've not really discussed. I've touched on nutrition, but not this particular topic when we're talking about superfoods in particular. So I felt like it was something interesting to share. So once again, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch this. My website is bponlinefitness.com. All you have to do is type that in on your address bar on Google or anywhere else. and it'll take you straight to my website. Again, there's a ton of free content on there. I have a blog on there. You can sign up to my email list where I send out a newsletter each week. You can contact me by my phone number that I have here on screen. If you do contact me, just let me know of what you're trying to speak to me about, or if it's anything in particular. But thank you guys as always for taking the time to watch this live stream. This live stream will, of course, be uploaded to YouTube. And again, all of my other live streams are archived there as well. So leave a comment if you have questions on anything. But thank you guys once again. I'll see you guys next Wednesday in the next live stream. In the next live stream, I do have the topic already ready to go. I'm working on the presentation for it, but I'm going to be talking about core training in particular. And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into talking about the importance of training the core, how it relates to functional fitness, and things of that nature. So that's what I'm going to be talking about next Wednesday. I'll likely have that event uploaded by the end of the week on Friday. Usually I'll have that posted by then, but watch for that. But that'll be next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, guys, thank you, and I will see you guys next week in the next live stream. So thank you, guys.